This weekend will mark the 65th anniversary of D-Day, the Allied invasion of Nazi-occupied France that turned the tide in World War II. For good reason, it's all long been called the longest day. One remarkable photograph became perhaps the iconic image of that unforgettable day. Our own Tom Brokaw has the story of the picture and the man it immortalized.
This is an enduring image of D-Day. An American soldier struggling ashore under deadly fire in the first wave. One picture, and so many stories. A courageous photographer, an image almost lost. And who was this young American? What happened to him?
That picture was taken right about here. This is Omaha Beach. And on that day, 65 years ago, it was a killing field. The photographer was the legendary Robert Capa. But the young American down in the surf, who was he? Did he survive? For many years, it was a mystery. But now, 65 years later, we know so much more about the story.
The water was actually red.
Yeah.
It was actually red.
From the bloody surf of the English Channel to the gentle waves washing ashore on Mercer Island off of Seattle, it is a long, long way. But Hugh Riley's memories still are vivid.
I thought about the water. I thought about it many times.
Take me back to the day that you launched, and you're headed now for the coast of France.
It was rougher than hell. God, it was rough. It was a shell hit the landing craft just as I stepped out.
Under constant fire, Riley, a 22-year-old private, began to swim. As he reached the shore, he was hit 4 times. An X-ray shows the German cartridge he's been carrying ever since. That morning, 2 men hauled him up on the beach, but only one was wearing a soldier's uniform.
I thought to myself, what the hell's this guy doing here? You know, I couldn't believe it. Here's the cameraman on the shore.
Combat photographer Robert Capa was working for Life magazine, the only press photographer to come ashore with the first wave on Omaha Beach. When his film arrived in London, photo editor John Morris rushed them to the darkroom. Under deadline pressure, a terrible mistake was made. The films were overheated and all but ruined. Of the 106 frames, only 11 images survived.
Those 11 pictures saved us. If it had not been for them, history would be incomplete.
At 10 cents an issue, Life magazine reached 4 million American homes, including Riley's mother, Vita. She knew immediately Capa's photo was of her son. But on the 40th anniversary of D-Day, Life magazine identified Ed Regan as the man. The mystery seemed to be solved. Until 20 years later, an amateur history buff, Lowell Getz, determined Regan was not the man in Capa's photograph. Getz's research found Regan came ashore on Omaha Beach, a mile and a half west of Capa, later in the morning.
So this put Capa and Riley at the same place, at essentially the same times.
When you look at the photograph now, after all these years, what do you think? Do you recognize that guy, Hugh Riley?
Yeah, I do. I recognize that guy. I remember every moment of swimming by. And the thing that really got me, I think, as much as anything, was to see all these guys that I knew
who didn't make it.
Didn't make it, yeah.
Riley was wounded that day, patched up, and sent back into battle. 6 months later, he was seriously wounded in the Battle of the Bulge, and his war was over.
So how many grandchildren do you have now?
We got 4.
He returned to Seattle and worked for a fly rod company. Retired, now his days are filled with fishing from his dock, sailing with his children and grandchildren, and remembering, always remembering, June 6, 1944, the day he crawled ashore at Omaha Beach and into history.